The Royal Rumble is set for January, and we already have quite a few names who are absent that will be returning to the Royal Rumble here in January. I've got some news on Chris Jericho, and also Ronda Rousey is back in the news. That's not always the greatest of things to hear. So we're going to be discussing a couple of things. Liv Morgan as well. There's major plans for her for WrestleMania 42. Apparently, The Rock has been offered a final match at WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. We'll see what his thoughts are on that. But let's first get into it, talking about the absent stars that are scheduled to be in Saudi Arabia for the Royal Rumble. So, as you guys know, a lot of people have mixed emotions. The fact that we're getting a Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia is great for WWE because there's lots of money that's being put into this show. For the superstars, there's going to be a lot of big returns. And for the fans, it's going to be amazing because you're going to get to see some of these stars back. I mean, we have so many people that are on the shelf that you can tell just based off the product that it's suffering because they're not there. So, WrestleVotes said that a number of WWE stars are scheduled to be back in the country for Royal Rumble week. And here's the list: Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, LA Knight, Chad Gable, Tiffany Stratton, Jacob Fatu, and Dominik Mysterio are expected to be there. Now, several of these talents mentioned have been off television because storyline or injury. Most notably, Jacob Fatu has been absent from programming. And in an update from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, he indicates positive news regarding his status, and he says that Fatu is in good shape ahead of his return. And the other performers, there's no scheduled return date. It's not known whether they will individually compete in Royal Rumble matches or will they appear on the show in some other capacity, or are they only scheduled for the Royal Rumble match? So we currently don't know yet. But these are the rumored names to come back. I mean, we need Randy Orton back. A lot of people were saying Randy Orton might come back to assist Cody Rhodes or perhaps cost Cody Rhodes, we're not sure, on the January 9th edition of SmackDown, because that's the 3 stages of Hell match that's going to be taking place between Cody and Drew McIntyre. So that could also happen. The other suggestion was Jacob Fatu might be the one who could return, and maybe he costs Cody Rhodes the title because it's revealed that Cody was the one that took Jacob out of action. There was some reports going around that that could be the storyline. In that case, you would have Drew McIntyre win the championship, which I'm all for. I'd love to see Drew win a title because I think the last time he won the title, I think it was probably during COVID. If I remember correctly, he beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I can't remember if he did he win the title again after that stint. I really don't know. But these are the reports, and hopefully we get to see some of them during the Rumble, and some of them maybe even before, because again, any much longer the shows are suffering. SmackDown is already back to 3 hours, and we're gonna have to have bodies take over. And make sure that the time slots are taken up by talent. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, you see Chris Jericho, and this is by New York Post. They reported this. They said that Chris had revealed a new look prior to his WWE return. He had posted this. I'm just going to read this here for you. So, Y2J must be counting his calories because he just debuted a new look in a special media post Thursday alongside music executive Matthew Pinfield. While rumors spread about a potential return, he's also a musician as well as an in-ring performer, and he showed off his classic hair, his long-haired look, which was different from his look in AEW during his last appearance. He's got long hair. He looks slimmer on the waist now, is what he looks like. He appears to have melted off some weight, and why would he be doing that? It's possible that he could be returning to WWE at the Royal Rumble or sooner. He's the wrestling legend at one point admitted that he was up to 240 pounds. And while we don't know his current weight, just by the picture here, if you check his Instagram, he looks to be slimmer. Probably the slimmest he's looked in a couple of years. So this is great news to see that Jericho. I mean, bro, if you got sites like New York Post that are sharing this, I mean, it's like at this point, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The best timing. We're not really sure what WWE has in mind. If I was WWE, I mean, I would give Jericho the Royal Rumble, and I would make this a Royal Rumble return. And now I do understand people have issues because they're saying, well, the Royal Rumble is in Saudi Arabia, and we don't want a Royal Rumble return from Chris Jericho in Saudi Arabia. We like to have it in America. That's a fair point. But you see a lot of these superstars that are returning, Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu, Tiffany Stratton, a lot of them might come back during the Royal Rumble because, again, they want to stack that lineup because it is going to be in Saudi Arabia after all. They're paying lots of money to be there. So if it was me, I'd love to see Jericho back. I know they're going on an overseas tour, which is what they usually do. I think that's what they did last year. They do that before WrestleMania. Personally, I wish they'd do the tours after Mania because that's kind of where I would say their downtime is more so than before WrestleMania. So I'm not really sure when Chris could come back, but it seems like if he does come back, the Rumble is the best option for him, and he can mix it in with some other guys that might be in the lineup to return at the Rumble in the actual Rumble match. So it'd be great to see him there. As for, I wanted to discuss some reports that were released in terms of what they're saying about Liv Morgan, because as you guys know, Liv Morgan was out for several months. She had a shoulder injury, she returned, and it sounds as though she'll have a busy few months ahead of her. Several inside sources that WrestleVotes has talked to want her featured prominently, perhaps in a singles capacity at WrestleMania. So she's been the central figure in the Judgment Day. Truth be told, the Judgment Day now seems more of like a female faction than what it once was with Finn Balor, Damian Priest, even Edge when he was still around. It seems like it's more of a female faction. Now, Morgan, she has not wrestled yet. She returned to the company at Survivor Series where she helped Dominik Mysterio win the title. She did wrestle Lyra Valkyria several times during the most recent WWE Holiday Tour, which happened. And they're waiting on the right time for a first televised match for her back in the ring. So with that being said, because they have this hope of having Liv Morgan in a one-on-one match, like a mainstream match, a match that means a lot, there's a chance that she could be the one that is in line to win the Rumble. A lot of people are saying it's either her or I think this is a return I mentioned, Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair has been out. I believe it's a knuckle injury. She has some knuckle issues, or I think she broke her hand at WrestleMania 41, and has been recovering. And she could be the one that might return to win the Rumble. It's either her or Liv. So they're saying, again, this is what WrestleVotes has been reporting on with some of these rumors, backstage rumors, that Liv Morgan could be facing off against Stephanie Vaquer, perhaps facing off against her for the world title, getting a world title shot. That could be in the works for WrestleMania. Personally, I wouldn't have an issue with it, seeing Stephanie and Liv Morgan face off against each other for the world title would be great. Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, we're not sure where their future lies. We know that Becky Lynch currently is in a feud with Maxine Dupree with getting the IC title. They could add some other women into that feud. They could move on, because we're not sure if Maxine heads into WrestleMania as champion. Rhea Ripley is currently with Io Sky. They're doing the tag team thing, and I don't believe, I'm not sure if they will have a tag team match at WrestleMania. Or, here's something interesting. Could they do an angle where Rhea or Io, one of them, turns on each other? And now you have another women's match, one-on-one match that could also fill up time on WrestleMania. I mean, they could do that. It seems like that's the way WWE is going with a lot of these tag teams. When they run their course, one person has to turn on the other. And then they move into a singles feud. So we're not sure, but it looks like Liv Morgan, they have big plans for her for WrestleMania. And we'll see where that goes. You know, if she wins the title, she wins the title, and then after that, you have Dominik Mysterio win the title at WrestleMania, because I know he's out, but he might return. If he wins the title, you know, we have this power couple, and this could be the beginning of them turning on the Judgment Day and officially moving past that storyline. It could happen, because I do know that Roxanne and Liv currently are they're doing the tag team thing together, so I wonder where that's going to go. I'm curious to know. Now, again, with WrestleMania 42, the question comes back to where is The Rock going to fit in all of this? Because they were saying that he might be back for WrestleMania 43. According to Ringside News, The Rock is not wrestling at this year's WrestleMania. The big offer under discussion is for next year WrestleMania, and there appears to be hesitation about proceeding, given that The Rock knows it would most likely be his last match. So we've established this thing with Cody Soul, and this is what The Rock explained. This is what The Rock said on the Pat McAfee show. He said, we established that the Cody Soul thing, he doesn't want to be involved in that, and that all that spotlight is going to be on Cena and Cody, and he was called after Elimination Chamber and said the final boss's work is done. Basically saying that that story's put to rest. We're not doing anything with Cody anymore. We're not doing anything with Cena. Cena's gone. All that is done. So if anything, it seems like he knows that if he were to return, this will be a final match. It'll be a final match. And in terms of who it's going to be against, people are saying that it's likely to be Roman Reigns. It's likely to be Roman Reigns. But this report is not saying anything about who the potential opponent could be. Now, if you guys remember, The Rock did say that, if you guys remember, I think it was the night after WrestleMania 40, that the story between The Rock and Cody has just begun. And, of course, when we saw Elimination Chamber, we realized what he was intending here. Unfortunately, that story cut, and it was taken away, and they moved on without him. I'm not sure if this is a signal to the fans saying that we're not doing anything with Cody, and Cody is not going to be with The Rock anymore. There's no storyline there, even though The Rock had said per storyline that the story is just beginning. Maybe that's off the table, and maybe they just go with Roman Reigns. I'm not sure. Again, if they do decide to do Roman and Cody at WrestleMania, then the idea was maybe they'll have the title switch hands and go to Roman Reigns. Maybe they don't do that. Maybe Cody Rhodes drops the title to Drew McIntyre. But then again, I got to take that back, because they probably won't have Cody go into WrestleMania without the championship. So that's probably not a possibility. But I wonder if they really, would they really have Cody lose to Roman and then Roman carry the title for a full year. You know, I don't know. Like, would they really do a title match with Rock and Roman? Like, does that need to be a title match? If it was me, I don't know. Like, you could have it be a title match and The Rock loses, but it's interesting. Like, I think a lot of people's eyeballs are on what that main event is going to look like. You know, is The Rock going to be a part of that? And if so, of course, he's going against a box office name. There's no way that he's going to be not fighting somebody who either he's already had history with, like since his final return, or somebody who is at that time, at that point, is going to be a main eventer. So we'll have to see who that is. And before I go, the last thing I want to discuss here is Ronda Rousey. Okay, so a lot of people despise Ronda for things like this. Okay, it's almost like she's become the female version of Matt Riddle. If you guys know who Riddle is, probably a lot of you have forgotten about him. Anything this guy says is a shot towards people in the locker room so that he could stay relevant. Ronda is saying she was on an episode. It was a podcast. She was talking about going over her run in the WWE. And this was with Burt, the Burtcast, on the Burtcast. He was trying to find out who the men's world champion was during Rousey's time in the company, and Rousey found it funny that he could not remember, and added that she thinks a lot of people in the WWE believe they're bigger stars than they actually are. She said, the fact you can't recall, it makes it so funny, because I think a lot of people in the WWE think they're a lot bigger stars than they are. Rousey's final match was an MMA rules match against Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam. Nobody remembers that. And post-WWE, Rousey went to do several indie dates. She wrestled for Ring of Honor, and all of those matches were tag bouts with Marina Shafir. But the story is, Rousey, first of all, it's kind of like looking in the mirror, isn't it? Because Rousey is out here talking about a lot of people think they're bigger stars than they are. Now, the question was very simple. It was just, who was the world champion during her time, right? And she used this as a way to throw shots back at some of the superstars. Quite frankly, nobody was a fan of Rousey when she was in the ring. I mean, that's exactly why they booed her, and they didn't like the fact that she disrespected the business, because quite frankly, she made a name outside of WWE for herself. But she coming out here saying things like this, of course, there's a question about her legacy. What is her legacy going to be? I think she'll be known as a great UFC fighter, as a great MMA fighter, but I think people would rather forget her time in WWE and would forget the fact that a company basically allowed her in with open arms, gave her main event spots, gave her title shots, and she decided to treat them this way. And the fans are going to be the fans, because this is not the fight business. This is the entertainment business. If the fans don't like you, they don't like your character. They don't like how you're presenting yourself in the ring, and they have every right to do so because they're the ones that pay to be there. So if Rousey has this like feeling in her chest that, you know, this kind of like you know, the fans are against me, I don't like the fans, and they're the stupidest fans out there. Well, you can think of that all you want. The truth is, there are stars in the business now today, and they continue to grow. And WWE, with the magnitude that they have of stars, they will continue to grow and surpass, you know, the kind of level they could have, let's say, back when Vince was in the office is what I mean. So it's great to see that. But again, Rousey saying things like this, I mean, it doesn't look good for her. It's not good for her image. But at the end of the day, maybe she doesn't really care about her image to begin with. So that is all that I have for you guys right now. As I record this, it is it is January the 2nd. And looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. That's all the info that I have for you now. But until next time, take care.